Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Violet and my service dog's name is Atlas. When this was recorded, the rest of this video was recorded, he was almost 2 years old. He's now 2 years old. I'm doing this intro about a couple days later to a week later because I realized I never did an intro or a proper intro, but we are going on a training outing and yeah, I might include an extra errand that was ran a day or two later, but yeah, let's get into the video, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. Bless you. Way to go. Disturbing nature. I'm keeping that in just so you know. And here we've made it into the mall finally, and we're walking in and making our way to Earthbound, where I decided to do our training for the day. We like to go to Earthbound because we like the merchandise, but also because it is usually a calm environment and there's not a lot of foot traffic in there. So I decided it would be a good place for us to train this day, especially because I have not been keeping up with his training like I should since we moved, just because I've been too focused on other things and too stressed. I have a lot on my mind. So this was a good place, in my opinion, to do some training. We just ran through some basic things like sit stays, laying down and staying while I walk away, as well as some of his, easier tasks that he's, very solid on. So like orbit, like you see here, and then later on some interruption tasks as well. And here I am working on his shadow task or his between cue, and you saw him back out of it. I tell him nope, and he goes back into that position, and we work on moving as a unit, so forward, backward, side to side. And his shadow task just creates space between me and the public. And then after we work on his shadow task, I work on some engagement with him, as well as healing off leash, and some more downstays as well. I also start to run some behavior interruption drills as well with him, and I go ahead and do some more engagement and get him into position. And then eventually here on this side, on that side table, you'll see an employee walk up and she starts to organize some books on that table. And in doing so, when she tries to straighten them out on the table, she makes a really bassy sound, as you see here, and it really distracts Atlas and it makes him uncomfortable. And so I tell him to lay down, and when he's uncomfortable, he tends to, really try and hold whatever cue I tell him to do, so whether that be sit or stay. So he becomes really hyper-focused on that, and he tries to, ignore the sound, even though it's obviously making him uncomfortable. So I try to do some interruption tasks to practice obedient disobedience with him. And at first he doesn't get it, and it takes him a while, and then he finally gets up from that, even though, again, the bassy sound from her organizing the books on that wooden table is making him uncomfortable. And then I continue to run it as much as I can, as long as she's there. And he ends up getting the hang of it more and more, the more that we run through it. And by the end, he does a really good job of practicing that obedient disobedience. Something new that has kind of cropped up with him is being uncomfortable with bassy sounds. We are working through it. So even things in like the bathroom, I noticed in public bathrooms he would get uncomfortable, especially if there was a bassy sound in that bathroom or if the pipes made an unusual noise. So we have been working on that more and more, trying to find, public restrooms like at parks when he's off duty has helped. But yeah, it's kind of hard to train through something like that when you don't have anything readily available that makes that sound. So you kind of have to rely on public spaces and hope that you find a scenario like the one here to work through and let him know it's okay, that he can still do his job and desensitize to it more so. Having a service dog, even though Atlas is pretty much considered almost fully trained at this point, he is too. He still makes mistakes. There's still going to be things that crop up. And not to mention with a service dog, even if it is fully trained, you have to keep maintenance up with them. So maintenance training, which is kind of what I'm doing here, but also working on some desensitization and working through some things that have newly been making him uncomfortable, which is okay. He's a sentient being. He's allowed to have feelings and be uncomfortable towards things. Service dogs truly are not perfect, and they are not robots. He helps me, and as a result, my job is to help him through life. So yeah, we finish off the training working on his block task with somebody directly behind us. And as you see here, there are some people that go to look at some clothes. I put him in his block, and he goes ahead and stays in it. And then we end our training session and we walk through the mall a little more. I have him do some orbit in some pretty busy areas, and we work on our elevator manners as well. And this is from a couple days later. I had a hankering for some cinnamon rolls, and so we decided to go to Target to get them. Unfortunately, in our area, there was a power outage of some kind, or just outside of the area we live, because this Target had experienced that power outage and it had caused damage to their freezers. So everything in their freezers and coolers had gone bad. And we didn't realize that until we made it to the cinnamon rolls, and you'll hear me be like, oh no, you gotta be kidding me. But it was no big deal. We decided to go to Publix because they had the cinnamon rolls that I was looking for. So yeah, no big deal, and we decided to look at some clothes too while we're here. But I wanted to pop in and kind of narrate what was going on. Wow.
Oh, this stinks.
Yeah. It was in the back.
Maybe it could be some over here. This is like the baking.
No, it was in that back one over there.
Oh, man.